Thank you for taking part in the ISED Lead Intervention Strategy training session. This is a program that is designed to handle behaviors that arise in class, but that can be dealt with without having to send an office discipline referral. The behaviors that we're looking at can cover a wide variety of topics and areas. Obviously, there are some that cannot be dealt with in class and must involve an intervention by an administrator. Those that can be dealt with using the ISED lead strategy include, but are not limited to, profanity, inappropriate behavior, insubordination, and disruptive in class. These are behaviors that we can use the following techniques, which are called de-escalation techniques, to address the behaviors. De-escalation techniques borrow from CPI training as well as conscious discipline in their efforts to de-escalate situations. The first step is to isolate and initiate. This involves taking students away from a situation and giving other students jobs to do. The first step is to remove the audience. This is the isolate component. The isolation is important because it takes a student who is trying to draw energy from the crowd and removes that energy. It lets them to focus on themselves for just a moment. While you're doing this, you do need to do something with the rest of your class. This is where we suggest you offering your students discussion topics, perhaps giving an assignment, something that's simple for them to work on, or engage in group work so that they are not being distracted by the event outside. This allows you to work one-on-one with the student who most needs your attention. The first part of the ISED lead is to isolate and initiate. The second part is focused on the student and the behaviors you're trying to bring out in the student to resolve the situation. The first thing we need to do is to have students stop and breathe. This is very important as it allows them to regroup, reboot if you will, lets their brain to relax and let them kind of absorb the motion of what's going on around them. We need to let the student take a moment to compose themselves. Oftentimes they are angry, they are upset, they are engaged in brainstem activity. This lets them stop and gather their thoughts. One technique that really is helpful here is counting to 5 or 10. This could allow students the opportunity to focus in on something, the counting, and allow their own emotions to resolve. The second thing that they will do is articulate. If in order for us to resolve the conflict, we need to know what's going on. So we're going to ask the student to begin to tell us what's going on. In this particular state, we let the student speak freely. This is maybe venting, but at least it's allowing them the opportunity to share out what they're feeling, what's going on in their head in that moment. Why are they doing what they're doing? Only they really know the state that they are in, even if they don't understand what it is. Allowing them to articulate lets them sort through the emotions in a verbal manner so that you can then hear and respond. You're also using this as an opportunity to allow them to identify the issue or the concern, to identify why they are behaving this way. What's very important is that this is the student making the identification, not you. The student is the one who needs to do this. Their perspective is their reality. Understanding this is key to helping them find the right way to resolve the issue. This also lets a student connect with ownership in what's going to happen next, the resolution. Giving them ownership is vital, because that leads us to the next thing, the student making their own decision. We are using articulation and identification of the problem to direct students to make a decision about what the next step is. Students here are going to be guided that way by guiding questions you are using, choosing the response and their next steps. Students need ownership here. As we move into the lead portion, we understand that this is where you are finding your behaviors. SED deals with student behaviors, lead deals with teacher behaviors. And the first step is to remain level-headed and calm. As teachers, we often face things that push us, put us in our potential brainstems. It's very important that we remain calm and level-headed throughout this procedure. Your demeanor can escalate or calm a student, so choose calm. Maybe you need a 1 to 5 count, just in case the student is trying to escalate you. Remember, it is not personal. The student may be calling you out and speaking to you directly, but this is about their personal state. Don't let it become personal. While you are listening to the student, you must engage in empathic listening. You are listening to help understand what's going on with them. You need to know exactly what they are feeling. The only way to do that is to listen to them. You might be asking questions. So why is this? Explain to me why you feel this way. What led you to do this? You need to be able to help to guide them through the de-escalation. And the way you do that is to listen to what they're feeling through the words that they are speaking, and then guiding them to the decisions. At the same time, you need to maintain appropriate body position. If you're making the student feel that they are crowded, that they are caged, that's only going to continue to accentuate their brainstem activity. You need to give them space so that they feel safe, they feel protected, but at the same time, you are keeping them separated from the class if it is needed, because that class can escalate the situation. While you're doing all of this, you are going to then bring the students to the point of that decision. Just as we said in the student portion, the student makes their own decision to create ownership, but you are the one who calls for that decision. The student makes the decision, but you are the one responsible for implementation. By having the student accept ownership, they are going to be more willing to comply with this behavior. Helping the student take ownership is going to lay the groundwork for future resolutions. Keep that in mind. This is all about building ground on the relationship for the future. Thank you for taking part in the ISED LEAD program. Please take part in the survey to follow. The survey will ask you some questions involving your level of implementation, any other questions that you want to have, and then as the process goes forward, please contact Chad Lehrman to let him know if there are any situations that have arisen where you've been able to use this particular strategy, or if you have any further questions on how to make it an implementation in your classroom. Thank you very much.